How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about all of the recent announcements just last night on all of the magic buffs coming from God Wars 3. I'm going to talk about it, give a little bit of my thoughts on it, and we're going to go through and read the notes as well. But this should give you guys a little bit of extra info if you're not sure exactly what all the changes mean, and hopefully we can figure out some stuff about it. Now, before we get started, I'm going to be just taking the first look at this as well, so there's going to be some stuff that I may misunderstand, but if I do, then just get in the comments, correct me, let me know. That's absolutely fine. I have spoken about it with quite a few people, so I do have a few things that I wanted to talk about with this, but other than that, let's get into this and let's see what Jagex have released and what we're getting for magic in God Wars 3. I wonder, is magic going to be best in slot? Let's find out. Of course, before we do get started, don't forget, do leave a like, do subscribe to the channel if you're new, but yeah, let's see what they did. So I'm just going to cut this stuff from the actual patch notes that they released yesterday. And the first thing that's on here is the Greater Concentrator Blast. Now, this is going to be an ability codex that you get, I believe. And what it's going to do is increase the total damage that you get from it. But not only that, it reduces the time it takes to actually do the 3 hits. So in the past, or at the moment, should I say, the 3 hits that you do from Concentrator Blast aren't worth using. You would cancel after the second one, as you can use another ability at this point, because it takes 2.4 seconds to do all 3. So now it's going to take 1.8 seconds, and also you're going to be doing more damage. You still keep that 5% critical strike chance on the next ability per hit that you let go through. So at the moment you would cancel this on 2 hits, which means you'd get a 10% extra crit chance, whereas now we're going to be able to let all 3 of these hits go through, so we're going to get a 15% crit chance on every single time we've used this on our next ability, which is absolutely great considering what the next thing is. But that alone is actually really good, seeing as we can now get the 3rd hit in, which of course is a big step up in damage anyway, seeing as we are not cancelling that final hit. Now, this is going to be a super important part of the rotation, I think, from now on. We'll have to see how it goes exactly. I'm not someone who can sort of look at everything and just go, yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. However, I think this is going to be very important, and we'll talk about that with the next thing which they talk about, which was the Staff of Armadale, the tier 95 staff. So the Staff of Armadale is our first tier 95 weapon coming into the game. Of course, it is a badass looking staff as well. It looks so damn good. I'm not going to lie, I want this so badly, but basically, there's a few things about this that I'm not sure about. They've said exclusively for those who can master Karapak's hard mode, one of the most powerful rewards in RuneScape awaits. So when they say exclusively for those who can master Karapak's hard mode, I don't know to me whether this means that you would have to do something in hard mode to be able to actually use the staff, because it says also further down, and we're not going to reveal how to wield it for yourself. That's for you to discover. So I assume this isn't going to be just a quick get the thing off the Grand Exchange or buy it off another player and then equip it. I feel like we're going to have to do something to be able to equip this. I don't think you're just going to have 95 magic and then you can wear it. I feel like there's going to be something different, but I don't know what it's going to be. Whether you have to do something specific in hard mode with Karapak, or whether you have to maybe get 50 kills, 10 kills, or even just a single kill, I have no idea. If anyone knows, if anyone's got a, not knows, but if anyone's got like a theory, then do let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested to see what you guys think about that. That just seems very, very cool. Like, I'm glad they've added something, if there is something like that, that there's other things you need to do to equip it, especially since it's going to be so damn good. But yeah, anyway, what does this staff do? So it does have a special attack called Instability. It says launch an unstable blast at your target for 50 to 200% weapon damage. Each time you land a critical strike against your opponent in the next 30 seconds, your staff will fire an extra spell. Now, when it says your staff will fire an extra spell, I'm assuming that means another one of the 50 to 200% things, because if it was anything like just a random ability from the mage thing, that would be a little bit overpowered, I think. But I'm assuming this just means it'll fire out another 50 to 200% weapon damage spell. That, or I guess it could be your auto-casted ability, but at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like the 50 to 200% weapon damage is probably the one that it's going to be doing. However, if it is your auto-casted spell, that leaves the question of whether it's going to cost you runes or not, because if it does, damn, that could be so expensive. You are going to be using things like Exanguate, and you're probably going to be using Insight Fear at sometimes as well. The Insight Fear one, if that's what you're using, is going to be absolutely freaking crazy. Like, it's going to be a lot of runes. The one for the Exanguate is nowhere near as expensive as it was now. It's just 1 blood rune and 2 fire, so you can kind of cope with that. But then if you're using barrage, like you could be spamming off barrages. That could be really good in like elite dungeons. That's a lot of runes. That's a lot. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that. I have no idea. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be just the 50% to 200% hit again? Or do you think there's going to be basically whatever you're auto casting? But basically this spec is going to be really good. Like if it is the 50 to 200% weapon damage, keep in mind that is more than using rack on a bound target. And that is a good ability to use. That is actually pretty damn good. Using ice barrage and then rack is a good amount of damage. But yeah, we don't know yet whether this is just going to be a normal spell or whether it's going to be that going over and over again. But that being said, either way, it is going to be so good. And this also does things like, of course, you're going to be using Concentrated Blast a lot, the Greater Concentrated Blast. You can use that as often as you can, probably, because that's going to increase your crit chance on your next ability. It's only got a 5-second cooldown. But the thing is, there's so many things with this, guys. It is absolutely crazy. This spec is literally like freaking stressing me out, because are we going to be able to use the staff and use the spec and then change between like dual wield and the staff again? Or if we change weapon, is the buff going to drop? Is it going to be like a Staff of Light where you use it and the effect is there and it's just there for the duration? Or is it going to be like the Eldritch Crossbow where you use the spec and then if you change your main hand weapon, then it drops and it's gone? So if it is like the Staff of Light, then you can 4-tick between absolutely fine. It doesn't matter too much. But they've mentioned here, merge this special attack with Greater Concentrated Blast ability and the Essence of Finality Amulet, and you'll have a power output that even gods will dread. So they mentioned the Essence of Finality Amulet like specifically here. So I've got a feeling they've made a staff that is basically just going straight into that Essence of Finality, because they've said it. They've said there. So I'm assuming that we will be basically camping dual wield for the duration of the spec, so that we can fire off the Greater Concentrated Blasts. And the only thing with that is we don't have auto attacks. So this could mean that this is just an auto attack rather than the 50 to 200%, because it's basically like 4-ticking, I guess, but without the 4-tick. So I'm not too sure where I stand on that. I'm hoping to God that we can put it in the Essence of Finality and then we can still 4-tick between wands and staffs, because I just think that's going to be a lot more natural, especially seeing as like once you start 4-ticking in game, honestly, it is hard to stop 4-ticking. Like it is so hard to do. But there's so much stuff. Like it could be that, it could be that you just have to stay on your wand, or maybe the effect will carry over and you can switch between them freely. It's just going to be waiting to see what happens with that, I suppose. Now, if it is auto attacks, you're going to be able to use things like blood spells a hell of a lot. That's going to be a lot of healing, but it doesn't only affect like that sort of stuff. You need to consider the fact that every time you use a critical attack, every time you get a critical hit, you're going to send out one of these attacks. Abilities like Smoke Tendrils always crits. If you have overloads, if you have the prayers on, then you'll always crit with Smoke Tendrils, which makes this like a absolutely great ability now, right? Because you're going to be firing out those every single time you like channel one of those things. Obviously, you can only use this once between the 30 seconds, as it does a 45-second cooldown, but that makes Smoke Tendrils a really good ability now, in my opinion. There's so much stuff to consider, and actually there's just no way I'm going to be able to talk about it all in this video without talking you guys to absolute boredom. But there's a lot of stuff that I could theory about this, and a lot of people that have been theorying stuff as well, and I'm very excited to see how it goes. I really hope it is something that works really well, because obviously you know what I'm like. I want magic to do really well. I want a good magic buff, and I just hope this works really well and it's not stupidly difficult to do, like over the top switching and stuff, because that magic inventory already is looking pretty damn tight. And that's gonna be something I'm going to mention on the next bit with the gloves as well. So let's move over to that for now. So other than the staff, which looks absolutely badass, we're also going to get a glove drop from the normal mode. This is a tier 85 magic gloves that enhance the combustibility. Wear these gloves, and for 6 seconds after using the Dragon Breath ability, the combustibility will deal 25% more damage and deal it instantly. Now this will be great for bosses that don't move. However, if you lose your walking on the boss, then that could be a little bit of an issue. If you use combust on a target that is walkable and then you do make it move, that causes the bleed effect to actually double, so basically doubling your damage on that boss. Now of course we're going to get 25% extra damage, but it's dealt instantly, so you can't walk that boss anymore. However, I have been told, and I don't know whether this is like going to be the most easy thing to do or not, but I have been told that you can cast combust and then put your gloves on, use Dragon Breath after you've walked the boss, and then it will explode with the double damage. And yeah, it's basically you can still walk the boss, but you just have to trigger the explosion, I guess, the instant like damage. like afterwards by using Dragon Breath with the gloves on. So any time that you cast Dragon Breath is going to trigger that, as long as the combust is on the target. But at the same time, that seems like a really big chore to do. Like, that seems like a lot of effort just to be able to actually like get that bit of extra damage. Of course, this will make it such a big damaging ability. Like, it's going to be so damn strong. But at the same time, like, I don't know, it's an iffy one. But either way, we've got a new glove switch. Like, this is going to be a switch. And obviously, at the moment, the way you're looking at it, if you don't do anything differently, if you literally use it as they've written here, you put the gloves on, use Dragon Breath, use Combust, this is going to be really good at, like, Seiryu for the crystals, Seiryu for his head, seeing as he doesn't move, and anywhere that you can't walk the boss. So Ambassador it'll be good at, Telos on phase 5, I assume it'll be good at as well. So you've definitely got a new glove switch if you're going to be using that. 25% extra damage is definitely good, and it's instant as well, so yeah, absolutely. There's a few other things to consider with this as well. So, for example, this is another switch. This is something else in your inventory to take up a lot of space. And also, you're going to have to switch this like at some inconvenient times if you want to walk the bleed and then explode it. But overall, I'd say these gloves are going to be worth using in places where you can't walk the boss. So, where you deal your damage instantly, places like the crystals on Seiryu, well, the whole fight at Seiryu, just anywhere the bosses don't move. Pretty much is the way this is going to go in my opinion. But otherwise, I'm not sure I'd bring these gloves along to anywhere where the targets are moving, because it's an inventory slot where we already have so many used up, which is the next thing I want to talk about. But to quickly summarize, because I know this has been a little bit confusing, the gloves are good. The gloves are absolutely good. But anyway, you can use Cinderbanes. These gloves are going to be a switch. And not only that, the use for them is kind of like hit or miss. If you want to walk the boss, then equip your gloves and use Dragon Breath, then yes, these gloves are worth using everywhere. But if you don't, then keep in mind that if the boss can walk, you're better off walking the Combust. If it can't walk, then you're better off using the gloves to get the instant damage. And then you need to talk about the lunging perk, because that gives an extra 80% damage. This is going to be worth using on bosses that can't walk as well. If you use it on a boss that does walk, you end up losing damage, I believe. But yeah, any boss that can't walk, the lunging perk is going to be great as well. There's absolutely going to be some uses for these gloves that I've probably misunderstood. And like I said before, if there's anything that I've like mistalked about or like misunderstood myself, then let me know in the comments, because I could be wrong. This is just stuff that I've gathered from talking to other people and working out myself as well. So it's just my thoughts pretty much. But let me know in the comments, is there anything else you can see being done with this? I'm very interested to see what actually happens when people like Lucario and stuff get their hands on these gloves, because I'm just interested to see all the little unique things you can do. Next up, I wanted to talk about the new God book, which is the Scripture of Jazz. Now, the Elder God Wars dungeon will introduce a brand new God book based on each of the Elder Gods. So we're going to get one new book for each and every boss, which is absolutely cool. Very exciting. I've just made a freaking video talking about God books and where to use them. I'm assuming now that we're never going to use them again, but hey-oh, let's have a look. So this one will give +5 prayer bonus and +8 to all styles. And also the special ability, Time Rift, for 10 seconds, all damage from abilities is added up. Then 20% of damage is fired off against your current target. That seems pretty damn strong. Obviously, it depends on how much damage you can do during those 10 seconds, but there's some situations I can see this being pretty interesting. There's not much more to talk about this though. For whatever damage you do in the 10 seconds, it all adds up, and then you get 20% damage extra fired off. Sounds pretty self-explanatory, and it all depends on your DPS, I'd say. So finally, all I want to talk about now, after we've covered all that stuff, is basically the fact that Mage could get absolutely hectic. There's a lot of stuff that can be included in this. Like, there's going to be so many switches that you're going to need to use. And now, the fact that this staff is probably going to be an EOF dump, like, in my opinion, this staff is going in an essence of Finality, so that you can use it on the dual wield. Because at the moment, it seems like when they've said here, merge the special attack with greater concentrated blast ability and the essence of Finality amulet, it seems like they're saying there that you're not going to be able to use concentrated blast if you've not got that in the essence of Finality. Because if you've got that on the staff, it seems like if you use the spec, which gives you the 30-second buff, I would say that's probably going to drop if you change the dual wield or unequip the staff. So that means that you would have to have it in the essence of Finality to be able to use the concentrated blast, which of course you're going to want to do because of the extra 15% crit rate that you're going to get from it. Now, it's not only that as well, you can increase that even more with the Channeler's Ring, going to be absolutely awesome too. And this is it could be a really good thing to do, but it might remove 4 ticking between that time. If you can't change between wand, orb and staff, then you're going to be sitting on dual wield, so that's kind of weird. But at the same time, we're going to have 2 Essence of Finalities, because if there's a cooldown, say if this had a cooldown of a minute, so you had 30 seconds uptime, 30 seconds downtime, then you're going to want to have your Gothic Staff still, so that's 2nd Essence of Finality you've got there. If you are going to use the Channeler's Ring, you're probably still going to want to have your Ring of Death. You're going to definitely want to have your Ring of Vigor. And for the people who don't have the Look of the Dwarves on their effect, like passive thing, then you're going to have a look at the dwarves as well, so that's a load of ring switches. And then you've also got, you've always got 4 rune pouches. When you're using magic now, there's always usually 4 rune pouches. You can get away with 3 depending on what spells you're using, but if you go into any boss like Telos, you've got 4. You're definitely going to be using a lot. So you've got a lot of things in your inventory. Just then, I just listed like 9 or 10 different things, and that's not even including your defender. It's not including your bladed dive switch. It's not including your glove switch if you're going to do that. It also not including the fact that some people have planted feet on a different thing. They don't have it on their main wand, so they'll have it on a separate wand. And then if you're going to want to use things like flanking switches and like lunging switches for the combust, there is a lot of stuff to consider at this point. Now, obviously, you just have to get to the point where you probably aren't going to take all of these switches. Personally, I'm just going to pick whichever ones work best, like the best ones, and then just take those. I'm probably not going to do all the intricate stuff like walking the boss and then using the Dragon Breath explosion thing. I'll probably just use the gloves at bosses that don't move. But we'll have to see how it all plays out. Personally, I am not the best at figuring out the best way to use stuff, doing all the math and stuff. What I will tend to usually do is wait and see what the super high tier PVMers do, and then I'll just learn from that. That's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about is, are we going to need 2 staffs? Are we going to need like inventory with no food? It's just going to be crazy. I'm interested to see what happens, but I might be reducing quite a few things for switches. I don't know. Either way, I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited to see what the staff does. 1, the staff looks badass anyway. 2, it does seem like a really strong special attack as well, so I'm interested to see that. I kind of hope it's the 50 to 200% damage, because that'll be a lot more than just autos, but we'll just have to see. Either way, even on autos, if you can fire off blood spells on autos that often, then that's a lot of healing as well, so it's going to be interesting, like, no matter what. I'm just excited to see what's going to happen, and I think they've done a good job of it so far, but we'll have to see, and hopefully the boss, I can kill the boss, because if not, then it doesn't even really matter, does it? Anyway, guys, that's going to be it from me. I hope that you guys have found this interesting. I could be wrong on so much stuff. I am saying that now. This is my first impressions. This is like my initial thoughts, things that are going around my head, things I've talked about with other people. So let me know if you disagree with anything. Get the conversation going. I could talk about this for hours and hours until it releases. I'm not even going to have the staff for so damn long, but I could still talk about it for hours on end until we know what actually is happening with it. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, do leave a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you to my channel members for your extra support. Anyone else interested? There's a join button by the sub button. You can get a few perks while also supporting the channel. And other than that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.